Good morning. It's Wednesday, April the 18th, 2018, and this is MUT 213 for spring 2018. That's redundant, I know. I have some good news for you. I graded your test. Nobody failed. And to tell you the truth, I don't think I would have made 100 on the test either, honestly. So what I did was I took the highest grade and I curved that to be a 100. Okay? So the highest grade was 100. No, I'm kidding. No, shucks. The highest grade was 95, and that occurred twice. And I'm kind of grateful when people don't make 100s, so know that I have some more teaching to do for myself and for my students. There were some difficult examples on this test, including the last part right. What I'm finding, and you may not be able to do this year or even as an undergraduate, is your ability to focus for an amount of time to get a specific task done. This is extremely important to do. So what I suggest is Adderall. No, wait, that wasn't right. What I suggest is that you practice being focused for a moment and move away from the distractions. If you think you can only study or do work if Netflix is on or stuff, you're wrong. Okay, we are not multitaskers. We're serial taskers, but we just do them very quickly. And nobody really wants to hear this lecture, but what I'm trying to say is we need to focus better and correct our work better, like really examine what you're doing. This is a huge skill. Recently, I've been tasked to be on a committee that evaluates an important person at our university, and I felt like it's an important committee. We had to write this big long paper, but to have an editor to really be able to see things like, oh, that's 2 spaces instead of 1, or that's an in dash instead of an m dash, that's 4. All of these things that it takes to be a proofreader and an editor is a skill that's hard acquired, but really necessary. Like, you know, have you ever participated in a Google Docs doc? So you make changes, but then one editor accepts them or not. So yesterday, among my peers, all professors, full professors, some deans, some above that, me, the lowest on the totem pole, I made over 1,000 edits, okay? Of a person here at our own music department who is brilliant. I've edited numerous things in their work. One way you can get good at that is to edit engraved music like I do all the time. And when I turn out something to you that is part writing, if I have a mistake or it looks funky, I punish myself for it. Okay, I really do. So how can you check your work better? You're just going to have to keep trying. Just keep trying. I don't have the answer. Now, yesterday when I was grading, these took a long time. So occasionally I would write something snarky on your paper. I apologize for that. Here is the realm of the snarkiness that I write. Did we need to discuss keyboard style more? Question. Did we not go over augmented 6 properly? Things like that. I apologize for any snarkiness that might trigger something in you. Now, I don't want to be responsible for that. Trigger better work. Okay, I've got old papers. Now, I've made a decision on the final exam. We have had 5 tests this semester, yes? The exam will be from the 5 tests. Is that something we need for that?
It's not.
That was God.
We're all still looking for Victoria's notebook. Let me tell you something good, Victoria. My teacher, when I was in college, he's of course passed away now, but his deal was, the best thing that could happen to you, David, is to lose your composition notebook. I'm like, what's that? And he would say, because you'll only remember the best of it. And I could lose my entire portfolio, and that might be the best thing. Okay. So it's gonna be okay, Victoria. It really is gonna be okay. Look at your first result. Post tragedy. Oh,
5 tests. I could have just
sorry. I'm sorry.
Here's the 5 tests.
You need another
No, I
step
have 0
on
tests.
those notes.
I have 1 test.
Sam, où est le treble? That means, where is the treble? And we can make this appearance as a result today. Frederick! Boltonic! Come on, make an effort. Rocky. All right. We're gonna have augmented 6 chords in the Neapolitan on the final exam, okay? Now, for the record, that was record scratching. You know, like a long play LP. Let's do one example in any key that you would prefer, without the key signature, okay? Without the key signature. Now, one thing about this test that I just turned back, I really made the directions very clear. You need to read them. All right, what key would you like to be in? Any key, off the test or not. We have to know all the 12 keys.
G minor.
G minor? Okay, so the Neapolitan is like this. What is the bass note of the Neapolitan? Well, in my mind, it's a subdominant, isn't it? It is a predominant chord, and the bass note is the predominant. Okay, then, if G is G, and we went a diatonic half step above that, it would be a flat. Yes? Now, I write a major triad on A flat. That is the Neapolitan sixth chord in G minor. How do I do the augmented sixth chords? A, I do them in the order of the instructions, so the professor won't have to think, what a unique individual this student is, doing them all backwards. How unique he is. Not egotistical at all. Okay, so in G minor, I've got to think, what the hell is the dominant? It is a D. What is a half step above the dominant? E flat. Half step below the dominant, C sharp. Okay. Everybody did super good at putting the augmented sixth chord in the outer voices. Great! Super great. Now, here's what you do next. You write the tonic and double it using appropriate keyboard style. Okay? Are we good there? Now, that's the Italian. Scale degree 1 and 2. That is a whole step. Okay? Scale degree 1 and 3 in the minor mode. Now, yes, technically that's where the flat belongs. Okay, I could make that a little neater. But if you don't know what music should look like, look at some music, all right? Don't like make this theory music where I'm pointing to accidentals and stuff. Just write. Did Liszt never have a second in a piano part? You know what I'm talking about. Okay, so I've got, no, I'm sorry, bad, David. Italian, French, German. Are we good with that? Can you do this in every key? If you're doing it without key signature, it's every 12 notes. Yes, doesn't matter major or minor. Can you, with live ammunition over your head as you're crawling under the barbed wire, resolve these 4 chords in every key? I don't know. F sharp was a horrible experience for most of you. It was like I can't spell a major triad. If I look at this right here, what is it? It's a major triad. Find ways to check yourself. I don't think I can say this any more ways. You have to discover it for yourself. Be like Christopher Columbus. Discover something that's already there and millions of people have been wandering around on for eons. All right? How about that? Self-discovery is discovery. Look at the damn notes till you understand it. What's taken you a whole year to do this? Why has it taken 9 full months to figure these 4 chords out? Weekly, I have discussed this, if not daily. What's your excuse? I did it quickly. I can do it quickly perfect or damn near perfect. Why can't you? All I want from you is what I have. I want you to have what I have and continue on and be better than me and richer than me and better looking than me. All of these things I wish for you. Mostly what I learned after college, honestly. but augmented sixth chords I learned in college. Now let's flip to the last example on page 2, and this bad boy is challenging. There were several things on the test that I thought were very challenging. One was on the first line of the second page, and a lot of your papers got something that said maybe on it, but I didn't count that wrong. Okay, here's the last example, and I want you to play along. You're going to see something like this again, I'm sure. All right, while I'm doing this, if you could please look at the first example on page 2 and tell me what about measure 3, beats 3 and 4, that you don't understand. Is this not something we've looked at all year long? The 7 is after the 5 and the 3, isn't it? It's carefully edited that way. We're going to do that example in a minute, but for now, we're going to do this example. Did anyone start singing the blues when they did this example? No. Okay, when in doubt, you have to go with the best practices. Just as if you were a doctor or something. Okay? Now, some things are hard. I believe this is the best approach to the Neapolitan. Could I have done it differently? I could have, and I did, and it didn't work out. That's why I chose this, okay? So you can think in your mind, what if I did this or that? Well, I already did that, and it didn't work out, okay? Now, this is the Neapolitan. We can admit to that. This is a fully diminished 7 chord of 5. Okay, what do we know about 5? We can't double the leading tone. So we cannot produce a fully diminished 7 chord just any old willy-nilly way. Okay, so sharp 3, that means E flat becomes E. Plus 7 and 5. Now, I have affected an augmented 4th, which allows me to move by step in similar motion to a perfect 4th. That means I do not have to double the leading tone. Right? Right. Now, this is my chord. This says 8/7. That means an octave above the bass moves to a 7th above the bass. Now, what always happens when the 7th goes down? It goes down again, yes? How many times have we resolved a passing 7th in a 5/7 chord? At least 74 times, okay? And yet, it suddenly isn't a 5/7 chord now. Now it's some new mystery chord that doesn't need resolve. Well, to me, this screams deception! Okay? Great. So what are we doubling deception? The tonic. the seventh goes down, blah, blah, blah. Okay? Are we good there? Now, look. Circle of fifths. Yes? Circle of fifths? Yes? Yes? That have been altered to become seventh chords. What do we know about strings of dominant seventh chords? You have to alternate complete with incomplete or you'll make a mess. Okay? Do you understand what I'm talking about? Do you know what a complete 5/7 chord is and what an incomplete 5/7 chord is? Good, because that's what you gotta know. This one, guess what? Complete. Next one, guess what? Not as complete. Okay, maybe, maybe not. Now, what has to happen? This must go to this. And this must resolve itself. And this must resolve itself. This goes to here. So this E is what is altered to become E flat. Now what do we have now? We have an incomplete 5/7 chord, don't we? And it naturally resolves to a complete 5/7 chord. Okay? Let's see if that happens. Now, this is a 7th. It needs to fall. And Lord, if it don't. This can just stay from whence it is, and this becomes that. The rule in this kind of 4-part writing is, regardless of what voice this E flat is in, if it's on this line that's been naturaled in any other voice, you have to correct it, right? You have to cancel it. Now, if it were an octave away from it, that's not true. It's just the note itself must be. Now here, if this were going to E flat, this is all very simple at that point. We could have this chord, or we could have this chord, right? There's my 5/7 is resolved. But it doesn't go to that. It goes to a what? That's right. French fried 6th. Oops, sorry. In England, they call them chips. Yeah, this is the chips chord. I think that's derogatory. Okay, now, what is the most important thing to resolve here? Well, I think it's that the 7th needs to fall. Boom! So the bass and the soprano have now resolved themselves. Here is where things get what I like to call a little tricky. Okay? Now, how did I get to this point? Because I went with best practices. You can do that too. But what you mainly did instead was just spell chords above a figure bass without the voice leading. Okay? Can't do that. Now, what do I need? I need a C sharp and an A. Yes? Yes? So they're really, that's that. That is that. There is no other way to do that from there. All right? Now, that was hard. I admit it was hard. Then we just have to go right on to 5, and then we do have to resolve this. We do have to make that F sharp go up because it's in the soprano. Now I think what would be fun now is maybe a little tune here. And don't forget your servers tonight, your waiters, waitresses, and bartenders. They're here to allow you to have a better time. So remember them with your tips. Forgot the Picardy third. Yes, is that, it's a little more intellectual than it is a fun tune. It sounds sort of dopey. Anybody know what that's from?
No idea.
No idea.
Anybody want to guess the composer?
Mozart.
Bach!
It can be Bach.
Yeah, it was.
Oh.
It's in G major. Did you notice how I came right off the Picardy third?
E.
Segue to Bach. From the second volume of the Well-Tempered Clavier. And I used to play the fugue, but
What's that
It's a
fugue?
fugue. What is it?
No, we're not talking about the fugue now.
no, I can't even like pretend I can play the fugue anymore. I probably can only play about one fugue from memory right now. But I won't do that. And then we'll never know, will we? Are we good with that? Yes.
It's not about this.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Oh, you've got fugue.
The second system on the back. What is the second to last note? Oh, okay. Chord, I mean.
I've got that as an incomplete 5/7 chord. Let's say we do that one, and maybe we'll see it again. I thought this had very interesting interactions with complete to incomplete 5/7 chords moving in a series of what do you call that? Circle fifths, descending fifths. Can we remember our descending fifths? You want it in major or minor today? Major. Huh? That's descending fifths, right? If I added a seventh to all of that, I would have me some jazz, right? Or blues. how about a substitution chord, Mom? Well, that's getting even worse. How about this?
Why?
Oh, we were doing something else besides this, weren't we? So, that's kind of pithy. Pretty upset that school is almost over. Are y'all? Ooh! Change your key signatures.
Cute.
Oh, there's a double ball!
Okay.
Go and think your hurricane waters is doing? Okay. If I were you, I probably would have done that. Does that coincide with kind of what you know about the world today? It seems to me that I don't think I did that right, did I?
Oh.
I did.
Yeah.
Okay, now for 5-7, I did this. Now, did this scream deception to you just like it did in the next example? Deception! So what do I know must be done? That right there must be done. Okay? Now, could this have happened? Yes. Is parallel fourths in the major mode. You can do that. In the minor mode, you couldn't, could you? You would have an augmented second. Where would you have an augmented second? Way augmented second. Right there. Yeah? So you can't do that. Now, I prefer my deceptions to be double the tonic because that's what the basic voice leading pattern is. Okay, now E flat, G, B flat. I had so many people double E flat. And what I thought was, why did they double E flat? I don't understand. Why does this not become the Neapolitan? To me, I'm going to approach the bass and double it in contrary motion. That makes sense to me. Does it to you? And then it seems like that would be the appropriate thing to do. Okay? Is there any question why I chose to do these like that? Now, we must not encounter a double fifth here, right? Because we're going to 5. This is 5. Is it screaming 5 to you? So that means I can't double C sharp, which means I can't write 2 diminished fifths. Okay, Smokey? Do you understand what I'm saying? I'm not going to double the leading tone, just like I didn't double the leading tone a year ago, October. Okay? So what I am going to do is kind of keep things. Where's my flat 7 going to be? I pretend it's going to be there. That's what my first guess would be. Second guess would be, I need me a B natural. The most natural thing to do would be to not have a cross relationship between your sharps and flats and put the B natural there. I think that's a very, very, really brave choice. And there for that. Now look, what have I got? I've got a 4th, and I've got a 4th, and now it's important. I have a stray sharp side. No bar. That's a Friday night problem. Okay, so we're about to go to 1th. Let's see if I've ended up in the same place. Oh, how lucky for us all. Now, what else I'm going to do is to check to see if I've got any unnatural naturals here. It would be nice to courtesy that F sharp that it's not required. So now the next thing to me is when it is an inversion of a dominant 7th chord, all the chord tones are going to be present. Yes, complete, incomplete's not a thing there. And then now this chord needs to resolve instead of to an 8 right there, but to a 7 right there. Isn't that exciting? Because we're going to 5, 7 of 5 here, aren't we? So to me, I think we keep the common tone and move that where it's supposed to, because that has to be solved, right? So what we do here is we pretend this resolves, but then we just allow it to just leap on to the 7th. No harm, no foul. Everybody's where it's supposed to be there. Okie dokie? What if I chose instead to do, never mind, I don't want to get involved in that. Now, what's going to become the 7 here? Tell me the note that becomes the 7. Very exciting news. Yes, exceptionally well done. And then this is not going to go up to E. It's going to go down to C sharp. And this is not going to go up to C sharp or up to E. It's going to do that. And now I have an incomplete 5-7 chord. Right? And so, quickly and quietly, we can go straight to time. Now, does that seem easy? It should seem easy when you're watching me do it. Okay? I'm not having a lot of trouble here, but what I'm doing is making a lot of higher level decisions as I go along. But you know what would be fun is if we had a little something we could play to celebrate this. turn of circles of fifths there at the end that could have turned a little better. Okay? I'm going to do something now, and you're going to have to tell me what I've done. Never mind. Okay. Did we understand that? It could be on your final exam. I think it would be an excellent question. Do we have any other concerns about the test? What I'd like to do now, just to make sure that I get to it, is the last two measures of the first line of the second page. Okie dokie. Okay, I believe that this is the voicing that I would like to be at the beginning of the measure. I don't know that I have to flatten that E, that B flat. Okay, -6 to 5, 7/7 of 5. Again, I have my augmented fourth instead of my diminished fifth. Okay, so as I resolve this, it's this. This is very easy to do. What we cannot do is stem different note values together. If this were the incomplete version, that would be my voice, and see where the two whole notes are. If it's going to be complete, naturally it'd be that. All right, pretend, okay, this was my answer right here. This is the way you should do that. But let's say, for example, you voice this differently. Okay, say for some reason you had this. Now you have to account for this note. Well, the dot goes there. You cannot beam it with the soprano or the tenor. Can you see how that goes there? Do you see that? Okay? That's how that's supposed to be. Now, if it's on the bottom, if I end up like this, then I could do this. This would really make sense, wouldn't it? Okay? That's a big dot. I don't have any other ways to do that, okay? Only when it's in the middle do you have to make some kind of big adjustment, right? You can do this. You can write in keyboard style. It makes you a much better person than vocal style. Vocal style has no meaning for you. You can't play it. You can play keyboard style. You should be able to play keyboard style. You should be able to reduce music down to keyboard style and expand keyboard style into music. That's all I got for today. Thanks for your patience. I'm looking forward to seeing you on Friday. remember that we have our arrangements, new compositions due Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and next week everybody should have a day.
Don't drop it or nothing.
I'm not.
Yeah, or that's the password.
Okay, thank you.
It was in class. How about we do it again on Friday? Yeah, because you may have to do Mondays at this point. Yes. We're gonna do this again on Friday. We can do all that. If you don't get a time on Friday, you can assume on Monday. Now let me count. I can actually give you some hints. So let me see how many people I got.
Yeah, the poor